you say if I said that I could bring them back?
I guess I'd say I never thought of that.
Well, alright, hold tight, you might wanna stand back, because one small John is coming intact.
St. John forward, spitting out some more words, fully intact, jacked, ready to rap and attack. Small John on your lawn, living like a gnome, hit you with my lyrics like a bullet to your dome.
Tonight when he comes up here, he's either gonna kill or he's gonna suck. But there's no in between for Mr. John Forward.
Oh, well, I didn't know any of that.
Well, that's what I've been trying to say the whole time.
Here I am, St. John Forward Radio. Let's see if the backing track has ended. No, it's still going on in the background. I'll have to remember to turn that feed back on at the end of the show for whatever's coming up after me, but it's 9 o'clock, so right now you're here for the deep embrace of St. John Forward Radio. Long weekend. First weekend off after slaving over my Fringe Festival thing. It was kind of nice to take a break, have a normal weekend, spent some time with some friends, and just lived my life. One thing that I did on Friday that it's been a long time since I've had the opportunity to do is just sit down and listen to an album and be like fully engaged with it. I got the new Tool album, Fear Inoculum, on Friday. Only version available is a ridiculous like $69.99 plus tax crazy version that it's a nice package. I could have probably done without the little screen and speaker that's built right into the CD case that shows some trippy Alex Gray Tool video for like 10 minutes on a loop, which is it's a thing. I looked at it once, I showed May once, and that'll go on the shelf. And but anyway, there's some artwork in there and all that. But I don't mind. I can manage an $80 frivolity. But I like to support the bands that I like. I don't buy many CDs, but my favorite bands I do, and Tool's one of them. Got to May was out of town. Got to sit down and turn it up really loud and in my basement. May was away for a couple nights visiting her mom, so listening to it loud, smoked a reasonable adult amount of weed while listening to it, and people are kind of tepid on it, but I really liked it. It's still a Tool album, so there is some familiar things, but I think every song has something new to offer to it. And I got thinking, fans of John Forward comedy who like a layered, multifaceted, mathematically meticulous 12-minute track. A lot of people are saying that I do prog comedy. And so I figured maybe I'll cede some of my opening rambles to a quick Tool song. And if you can stand and listen to me ramble and talk shit for 10 minutes, you can handle this. And if not, you can skip through it the same way you do with my intros if you don't like it. But I recommend listening to it loudly. But and then we'll be back with tonight's guest, Dan Theriault. How are you doing?
Dude, good.
Not a big Tool fan, but
no,
we'll get to hear a song now, and then we'll be back and start the show for real. But for now, here's Numa off the new Tool album.
don't you recall, remember? One breath, one word, one spot, sun becoming.
there it is. Just a quick 12-minute long Tool song. Numa. I think that's. I have to take more time to absorb it before I pick a full-on favorite, but that's an early contender. Like I said, listen to it on Friday night, album in hand, following along with the words with the little booklet. It was a nice experience. I liked it. And then I sat in the pool the next day and listened to it again. Our dirty, muddy, raccoon footprinted, inflatable Walmart pool. But
That sounds like St. John right there.
yeah. Yeah, it was the Walmart pool has been out for a couple of weeks now. Rather than deflating it and putting it away, we're like, let's just leave it open. And I tried to spray it out with the hose ahead of time, but it didn't really take care of the raccoon footprint.
Caked on raccoon footprints.
Yeah, and there's just leaves that have just been baked onto it. Anyway. And it wasn't fully inflated anymore. I figured once the water was in, that would hold everything together. But the full inflation's pretty important for one of those. So the side was kind of crumbling down and leaking out, and it wasn't on fully level ground either. So lessons learned. So what is the summer is pretty well over. What have you been up to this summer, Dan Theriault?
I have been working and hanging out with my kids, mostly. We actually have a pool in our backyard that's inflated and filled with dead bugs.
Nice. Yeah, it's the pool seems to attract suicidal insects. Like when we're in it the whole time, there's just ants. Like, I need to get in there and then die immediately.
Yeah.
Flies and stuff landing it and not making it back out.
I have a full-on bumblebee graveyard.
Yeah.
It's like the elephant graveyard from The Lion King, except with bumblebees.
I haven't found any bees in the pool. We had a fair amount of bees. I was watching them just because there's whatever kind of weed it is that is prevalent around my yard has a little pink flower on it, and the bees like to crawl in there and do whatever they're doing. But my bees aren't big swimmers, I guess. So any other summery stuff that you did with the kids? Did you bring them anywhere?
We went to the beach a couple of times, and the Q-Plex, that swimming pool where there's all sorts of other screaming children.
Yeah, no, I spent a summer working for the Y. I was out there, lots of screaming kids.
Yeah.
Once at the Q-Plex, I never, this is in my notes, I could never figure out how to make it into a bit, but I noticed that, like the fence that's on the side of the pool area, one day there was just like some 10 to 12-year-old girl just not paying attention and just standing there and texting on her phone, but there was like half a dozen like horny little boys just like climbing over each other and just like looking at her standing there indifferently, like messing around on her phone. I wanted to make a comparison to that. This was like a live action like cam girl thing for kids where they're all just watching this girl text on her phone, and they were very excited
throwing
about
coins
it.
at her through the fence.
Yeah, giving her tips. Yeah, but the Q-Plex is a pretty good pool when it's not overrun with screaming children.
Yeah, no, it wasn't too bad.
Yeah, it's and what beach do you like to go to?
Went to Meehan's Cove a few times there. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been out there a few times. I've never been in the water. Is it cold?
It was actually pretty warm when we went.
Yeah.
And there weren't many kids, so it wasn't just urine.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah, we used to. There's another. I don't know. I haven't been out to the beach in a while. Like we used to go to New River Beach on Canada Day, but it's just too uncomfortably cold to go in for more than a couple of minutes. So that's only fun if you like the being on the beach part.
Just covered in sand for 48 to 72 hours.
And every now and then we used to. I've gone up to Crystal Beach a few times, and that one's not bad. But I don't know. I don't like what's the other one that used to be nice, but now there's just a gigantic, like Irving oil tanker. Yeah. That one used to be good, but the landscape's kind of...
It's changed a little bit.
Rough. Yeah, so if you're not from St. John, yeah, just a beautiful sunset kind of in the distance on the beach. Now has a gigantic oil tank. It's a beautiful sight to behold.
It's fantastic.
Yeah. So they're are your kids in school? How old are they?
No, they're 3 and 1.
Okay.
Yeah, they're very young.
Yeah. So you can't ship them off for the government to babysit them
Not
all
yet.
day quite yet.
2 long years
Yeah.
for one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Went up last week and to Salisbury for a show, actually, on a different topic here.
Yeah. What was the show?
It was put on by Scott Campagne. I think I'm saying his
yeah.
name right.
Yeah,
Grady's
I saw
Pub
him
in
post
Salisbury, yeah.
saw him post on the Facebook.
Yeah.
How was that?
Didn't happen.
No?
But the bar still paid us, which was cool.
Okay. What
Good
happened?
on
Just
that.
nobody showed
Yeah,
up
there was
when they called
literally
it?
no crowd. There was, I think, one person on a VLT over in the corner. It was in the bar looked like it was someone's living room.
That's always good. We used to do, when Troy Haynes first started putting on shows, he used to do them at the Elks Club up there, and the stage, like literally behind us, were bookshelves full of books and like an old easy chair.
Yeah.
It was fun. It's too bad that nobody showed up, though. What did they do for? Oh, I don't know. I can't imagine.
I don't think they promoted it at all.
Yeah, that's probably.
Yeah.
And Salisbury doesn't have a huge population, so
No, I don't think so. She kept assuring us they'd get there eventually, but they didn't.
Yeah. I don't know what kind of what a hopping night at a bar in Salisbury is. I didn't even know there was a bar in Salisbury. I think all I've seen is like the Silver Fox and like the liquor discount store and the Dairy Queen.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the thing with these small town shows. You kind of, sometimes you luck out and like everybody in town will come just because they're so excited to have some form of entertainment, and then sometimes it's just like, no, we're Salisbury, we're getting drunk at home.
I think it could have been better if it were promoted by the bar better, and also if it wasn't on like a long weekend.
Yeah.
Because I mean, a town like that, everyone's probably out at their camp or drunk in the woods on a long weekend, right?
Yeah, that's a tough thing, and I don't know how many people on Salisbury are like, I don't know,
High up on the amateur comedy scene.
Yeah, it was put together pretty late. I think the post looking for people to do it was just like a few days before the show.
Yeah, I think he was looking for one more person to fill in because he had to drop out or something like that. Yeah.
Well, that's too bad, but at least the bar paid it up. Good turnout at the Five and Dime a couple of weeks ago. Yeah,
that show's been going real well.
Yeah. Glad to see it, and especially on a weeknight,
Tuesday night.
Yeah. It was fun to do that. I got a good practice run in. Had a good set before my first night at the Fringe Festival, and then later on that night at 10 o'clock, I hit the stage for 5 people who did not laugh very much. So
you had a great set at the Five and Dime.
I had one good show that night. But that one's been going. I haven't been able to make it to the past couple. I think I was sick for one, and I was out of town for something else. But good to see good turnout on a weeknight, and I wouldn't have thought. Because, like, I always pushed for, like, No Jokes Barred to be on a Saturday, because that's, people will come out on a Saturday, but I don't know, maybe a weekday's a better night to have local amateur comedy. I guess I don't know, maybe Saturday night.
People are looking for something to do on a Tuesday.
Yeah, they don't have to work the next morning when it's on a Saturday night, but also there's other things to do on Saturday night.
Don't give them options, John.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Still trying to figure that out. McGill's has been okay for the last little bit, but, it's been up and down. But I'm glad to see there's at least one room that's thriving. I heard the last Sunday After Dark went pretty good, too. I wasn't able to...
actually, I had a really good crowd there.
Yeah. So, that's good. Everything except for my shows. I'm just failing. got one left hanging on. If McGill's gives us the boot, I'm probably just gonna give it all up and just be a comedian, not have
not run some shows.
No, it's a lot of effort, and I only really started doing it just to give myself more stage time. So if there's other people putting on better shows, then I'm happy to just participate in those. It's much easier to just have to show up and do your thing.
Yeah, than to kind of organize it
and also showing up and doing your thing.
Yeah. I like putting it on though.
Yeah.
Says the guy been doing it for 6 months.
Yeah, like when everything's going good, it's not a hard thing to put together. But I don't know. It's every time there's a rough night, I'm always like, oh no, this is the one. The bar's gonna kick us out. They're losing money. It's just stressful, and just trying to have to book people and have some variety to it, so it's not the same people every time and all that stuff. But I'm glad it's been going well, and I look forward to being able to do it again. There's some new stuff happening in Fredericton too, so I think there's kind of been some new blood injected into the scene as of late, which I think is kind of helping things. It had been kind of stagnating a little bit over the last little while.
After Yuck's kind of closed down there, it seemed to kind of turn a little, even bit before that, it kind of turned down to...
Yeah, and I still haven't figured it out. I still complain about it on the radio a fair bit, but I don't know what it is. If it's just the Yuck's gone, that's kind of... I don't know if people were looking at that like that was our ticket to fame.
Yeah.
But I don't know. For those of us who have long since been disillusioned about any prospects of succeeding in the Canadian comedy business, it's not really. It is a disappointment that we don't have that stage to work out on anymore. But it's not like it's a big blowback on our careers that we're not going to happen anyway.
Yeah, actually, I had a guy reach out to me for the Five and Dime show. Was 17 years old, so trying to figure out a way to get him on the show where it's a bar and you got to be 19 and whatever.
Yeah.
So in the back and forth with them, I'm like, parent or guardian can come in, be with you while you're there, do your set and whatever, and you can stay for the show if they're there.
Yeah.
Apparently that was too much hassle for him.
I wonder if it's the same kid that reached out to me, because somebody sent me a message a couple of months ago, and I took a quick look at his profile and saw that he was born in like 2002 or something like that. And I had just responded back like, oh, well, I'm going to have to find out if that's cool because you're underage. And then he was like, no, I'm 21. Don't worry about it. Which, as far as I'm concerned, that's my due diligence done. I don't need to check IDs.
Yeah.
If this kid wants to lie to me and tell me that he's of age, then whatever.
Yeah.
It's not my problem to ID him. If he was getting hammered, I might give an anonymous tip to the bartender. But I don't know. Yeah, when Thane Fox first started doing comedy, he was 17 or 18, and we had him up at the R Bar. I had no idea that he was that young until he started announcing in his set how old he was, and I told him to stop saying that and drawing attention to himself. Because, I don't care. It's not my... As long as I can reasonably have some plausible deniability, then I don't feel like it's my job to ID everybody that I put on the show.
Yeah. I just didn't want to put anyone in an awkward position to,
And it's the Five and Dime doesn't have bouncers anyway. This kid could have just walked in and nobody would have said anything.
Yeah.
Unless he went up to the bar and started ordering drinks, then that's the bartender's job to ID them.
That's true.
I don't think there's laws against minors being in the bar. It's a gray area
it's something to do with
if they sell food, like there can be kids in there for sure.
Yeah.
Five and Dime doesn't serve food, so I don't know if that means that they can't have kids. I don't know. It's a conundrum. So if you were thinking about becoming a comedian to lure kids into your shows, it's not a good way to do it.
It's a poor career move if that's your
Yeah.
Year-end gig.
All ages shows, maybe. Somebody sent me a message about a fundraiser. Maybe you can get some kids in there. Let's change topics.
It's getting uncomfortable.
Yeah, let's take a musical break. Do you want to tell us about the song that you've selected?
Yeah, it's Bob by NoFX. I used to listen to NoFX a lot in high school, so it's just kind of been on the nostalgia train lately.
Yeah, I think I like everything that I've heard from NoFX, but I never really got super into it, and I don't know why. I don't know. It's kind of in my my ballpark area of things. I was into pop punk when I was in high school, but that wasn't on the list.
Just some fun, upbeat tunes.
All right, well, let's hear a quick station ID, and then let's check in on the background music and see if that's over yet. It is, so I'm just going to leave that channel turned on. And here's John Scove Nielsen with some words about what you're listening to.
So what, it was 107?
107.3, local FM.
This is John Scove Nielsen, and you're listening to the St. John Forward Radio on 107.3 FM.
Close enough.
It's too much information.
15 years, getting loaded. 15 years till his liver exploded. Now what's Bob gonna do now that he can't drink? The doctor said, what you been thinking about? Bob said, that's the point. I won't think about nothing. Now I gotta do something else. Oi, oi, oi! Pass the time and someone shaving. Then he got a new identity. 62 old and pushing boots, and a girl who rides a scooter to take him out. Uptown, they would get away. Riding around as the trucks drive by, you can hear the motherfuckers go. A couple of lines and next to Mr. Joe. He'll be kicking in heads at the punk rock show. Yeah, Bob's the kind of guy he knows just what. Bob's the kind of guy he knows just what to do. When the doctor tells him to quit your drinking, now's the time. Will he ever walk the line? To all my friends that feel just great. Will he ever walk the line? Kicking ass and busting heads, red suspenders. Once a day he shaves his head, but will he ever walk the line? 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 Or will he ever walk the line?
We're back on St. John Forward Radio. Little No Effects. That song was 10 minutes shorter than the Tool song. What is the point, even? I haven't read it myself, but I hear that the book that No Effects put out about like kind of touring stories and stuff is really good.
I have not read it either.
Doug Stanhope talked about it a bit on his podcast, that he kind of read a bunch of kind of rock and roll, like tour-ish kind of storybooks and stuff when he was gearing up to write the last book. This Is Not Fame, and the No Effects book was a big inspiration for him as far as just telling funny stories of just debauched party backstage kind of stuff going on the road.
That's what I imagine they'd be entirely about.
Yeah, and Fat Mike Skyped in, I think, on a couple episodes of the Doug Stanhope podcast.
Nice.
And told some funny stories, so that was good. Have you ever got to see them live?
I have not.
No.
Because they were in Halifax, so I don't know, years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how many, but at one point I wanted to and didn't. That was a really exciting story, Dan. Thanks, Dan.
It would be. Do you go to much live music? Like, do you
Not
often
anymore.
go on like road trips, or you got kids?
No, not anymore. Used to go to like the festivals and stuff around here, like Sunseeker.
Yeah.
Did that a number of times. Folly Fest.
Mm-hmm.
What else? 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 What It's called Penobstock out in Penobsquis.
Yeah.
Went to a couple of times.
Yeah, that one, there was some brief talks about having a comedy show at the Penobstock location that never really panned out.
Yeah.
Somebody kind of approached me about it, and I was kind of like, I will be on it, and I will help suggest some people to be booked on it, but I don't want to be responsible beyond that. And I think this person was kind of hoping I would kind of take the reins on it, and then that was too big of a headache for me to want to deal with.
Yeah, that'd be a tough spot for a comedy show, though. Like, I mean, it's kind of back out in Penobstock a bit, Penobsquis a bit, and
yeah. Well, and we talked about maybe getting like a shuttle bus or something from St. John, and
to shovel the 8 St. John amateur comedy fans out to Penobsquis.
Yeah, I don't know, something like that. Was there a good turnout for the music festival that you went to?
Yeah, there was. I think I went 3 or 4 years.
Yeah,
maybe 3. It's usually a decent sized crowd.
Yeah, so people are willing to go, but the people that are willing to go who also want to see a comedy show is much more limited, I think.
Yeah. I think the Venn diagram of that would be fairly...
it would be a tough sell. And even to go out and camping, I think, is an option out there, and for a festival, like a music festival, that can go for many, many hours, and it's fine.
Yeah.
But you can't have like a 6-hour-long comedy show, and you also can't have like an hour-and-a-half comedy show when it requires more drive time than the actual show goes over. So, yeah, that's something. Like even RF and I went down to Skankfest in New York, and that was like noon till midnight for 3 days in a row of all comedy. And that was even broken up with podcasts and stuff, and those were some of like my favorite comedians in the world, and it was still a bit of a slog. So yeah, having 8 hours of local amateur comedy would not be a fun show. Have you ever gone to Evolve? That's the only one that I went to. But I had fun. But the last 2 times that I was there, it was Trevor Muxworthy put together a little comedy show, so we were there as performers, so I didn't have to pay for it. And we were also like camping in a separate section where we had a bit more room. Nice. I don't know if I could go back to just being in the tent city where you've got like a 1-foot barrier around your tent, and then there's somebody else like right there.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I'm too old for all day standing up watching stuff. Yeah. It's too much.
I went once to Evolve, and it was, what I've heard, one of the worst years of Evolve. Security was super tight. Like, you couldn't bring your beer near the stage or anything like that.
Do you know who the big marquee headliner was that year?
I think Fred Penner wasn't there that year. It was Xavier Rudd was there.
Don't know who that is.
Okay, yeah, you probably wouldn't. John Lajoie was there.
Okay, yeah. I don't remember hearing about that.
Blanking on this. This would have been like 10 years ago.
Yeah, I went the first time that I went. Michael Franti and Spearhead was the big headliner, and that was good to see. Chaos, the Canadian rapper, was there one year. Peaches was the big headliner, and Grandmaster Flash, I think, was there. But with that one, I don't know. That one's less about the actual music and more just kind of to go and do a fun hippie camping trip and do drugs and stuff.
Yeah.
But have you traveled much to see like particular bands, or like to go to certain shows, or just all festival stuff?
Not really. Like, does Moncton count?
Sure.
I went there to see the White Stripes.
Yeah, I feel like when stuff like that comes through that's reasonably close, I almost feel like I've got a responsibility to not be an old man and
go to it.
And there's like I remember when I first started at the radio station here, when I was working as the librarian. That was the year like the Kids in the Hall came through, and the tickets were crazy expensive. which I couldn't really afford as a student, but in retrospect, I'm like, God damn it, I could have gone to see Kids in the Hall live, and I didn't. And so, yeah, when stuff comes to Halifax, I'll make an effort to go. I went to see Judas Priest, which I really liked them, so that's somebody that I would have liked to have seen, and I would have traveled further for, but to have them show up and just come to Halifax 4 or 5 hours away, you can't pass that up. And went to the Impact Music Festival the last couple of years in Bangor, which was fun.
Nice. I think the furthest I've gone was Toronto for Blink-182, and that would have been back in like 2005.
Yeah, we used to.
That was on my parents' dime.
There's a few times where I went with friends to see bands in Montreal. We went to see Tool, I think, on the Lateralis tour, which was like, I think, October 2001, and we tried to take I don't know if it probably wouldn't have been a shortcut anyway, but we thought we would cut through like Maine to get to New Brunswick somehow, and went through some weird border crossing and ditched all of our pot and paraphernalia on the way down, but they still gave us like a super hard time at the border. And one of the guys that we were with was just kind of coming with us. A few of the people with us knew him, but he was just kind of a little bit more than a hitchhiker, and he had a bunch of acupuncture needles in his bag for some reason, which seemed suspicious. We had the window cracked and we were parked, and we could hear the two border guys talking like they've got all those needles, they've definitely got some hash in there, and we didn't. But
shooting those hash needles.
Yeah, no, we went in, and like one of my friends had like an ancient roach that was just buried in like the corner of his wallet, and they found it, and he was like, I don't remember that being there. And they said, without any sense of irony, yeah, it's that short-term memory loss. And were like seemed genuinely upset, and like gave us a third degree about it, and just how they just cracking down. And there's a big picture of smiling George W. Bush on the wall, and they turned us away and made a point of like, yeah, this is, if you try to cross again today, then you'll be arrested. I'm like, okay, well, we'll turn around. It ended up being a huge detour and made the trip a lot longer.
I got held at the Calais border for, I think it was like 4.5 hours, because I forgot I had fireworks in my trunk. It was an ordeal. I was traveling with some less than savory characters as well.
Yeah.
So it was
that's a bad omission to make. You got to do a good search,
search
through
of the car
before you go through.
They searched the whole car. It was all torn up when I went back to it.
Yeah.
They yelled at me, said, "We could have scraped up like a whole gram of weed and arrested you and impounded your car, and you'd be a felon."
Yeah,
and then they turned me back to Canada.
No, for probably the past 10 years, I'd gone through and just got waved through every time. Just, where do you work? Okay, have a nice time, and go through. The last time that I went down in April to see Sleep, I was with some long-haired, tattooed fellows, so we looked a lot more suspicious, and they brought us in, and they put the dogs through the car, and they smelled weed on one of my friend's book bags. Like, he didn't have any actual stuff on him, but just the smell of it having been in there previously, and just didn't find anything, but still tried to kind of like, just because it's legal, you're not allowed to cross the border with it. And we're like, we know. That's why we didn't have any. Like, you could smell that we did have some in our possession at some point and made a decision not to bring it with us. But yeah, just kind of, you could tell how disappointed they were that they didn't find anything, but still wanted to like give us a hard time anyway. We got through, but it was a pain. And I felt my civil liberties were violated. And it's a stupid thing anyway. It's legal on both sides of the border.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true, isn't it?
Yeah, they're from what I understand, like, I think it was voted on, and it's fully legal in Maine. They just have a governor or something that's a real dick about it, and just has just drawn out the process of getting it so that you could have recreational stores, so you still can't buy it in a store, even though I think it's just as legal there as it is in like Denver and or Colorado is the state, and in California and Oregon, like everywhere. I think it's just as legal as those places, but you just can't get it in a store. I was last year at the Impact Festival in Bangor. Somebody kindly passed me a joint while I was watching Black Label Society, and I was like, oh, thank you. I came from Canada and I can't bring anything across the border. And he told me that there's just been this black market pop up where you can just call a phone number and somebody will deliver weed to you and not charge you for the weed, but they'll ask for a donation to cover the delivery. Which is ridiculous. Just open it,
like when
just
someone
put it in a store.
Gives you weed for stickers, for buying stickers.
Yeah.
It's
this it's weird. Yeah, there's somebody, I don't know how I ended up. There's somebody on Facebook that has some sort of edibles store. I assume it is somebody that I know, but I don't know which of my friends it is. I just see them posting that they've got this type of thing for sale, and this one's sold out, and I'm like, just right on Facebook. But anyway, let's I need a drink of water, so let's take another break. Let's play some Frank Carter and the Rattlesnakes with Tyrant Lizard King, and then we'll be back with more Dan Theriault.
10 miles high with electric eyes. He breathes in the moon and he breathes out the night. Dressed for death in heavens like a meteorite. He took all of his leathers from a dinosaur fight, and he is ice cold, born bold. Never bought and never sold. First kiss, knockout swing, fire breathing tyrant lizard. Tyrant lizard. Tyrant lizard. Tyrant lizard. Tyrant lizard. Stars on his knuckles and a snake as a crown. Won't take your wife, he'll take the whole damn town. He's a goddamn good man, always got a master plan. Smiling at the firing squad, and somehow still an underdog. Alpha and Omega, everything in between. Yeah, he's a goddamn venom spitting tyrant lizard king. Tyrant lizard. Tyrant lizard. Tyrant lizard. Tyrant lizard.
Tyrant Lizard Radio here on local FM, back with Dan Theriault. We're talking a bit about what's happening in New Brunswick comedy these days. How are you feeling about it from your own perspective?
I think we're on a bit of an upswing.
Yeah,
I really do. There's a few new rooms coming up in Fredericton.
Mm-hmm. I wonder if Yeah, I'm looking forward to anybody trying. I'm a little concerned that the existing Fredericton comedy scene is still going to stay in their corner. Hopefully we can blend it up a little bit better. I think that's the bigger thing. Everybody just kind of picks a spot and
and just kind of sticks with it, and it tends to be in their own city.
Yeah.
We're gonna,
which the
Moncton guys
can happen.
kind of go around though.
Yeah, I don't know who's coming down to do St.
Otter
John open mics. Yeah, Brian Otter and Evan will come
Steves,
down. They're coming down to do Taco Pica this Friday, September 6th.
Nice.
Also, Dan Theriault is going to be hosting that one.
That's me.
Dave's putting together some stuff in Friday. I still like doing the Abbey. I've had a good experience every time that I've been there. I think I've only done it like 3 times ever. But have you done the Abbey?
I've done it twice.
Yeah.
Both times were all right. I haven't done it in a long time though. Like I don't think I've done it since Sabrina took it over.
Yeah. I think I've only done it since, I don't think I did it in the early, maybe I did one in the early goings.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had a good experience there. It's got kind of a reputation that's the feminist lion's den and you can't say anything. But I don't know. I've chosen the sets that I'm going to do there accordingly.
Yeah.
But I never felt like I had to, like, I'm not going to do something just to kind of rub their faces in it and get, and
well, I mean,
if I've got a bit that I like, why not do the one that they like too?
Yeah. Well, because I mean, at the end of the day, that's our quote unquote job, right? To do something that people will enjoy.
Yeah, I still feel like
fun.
there is like any more offensive stuff that I don't think I have anything that's, well, maybe a couple, but I don't know. So anything that I'd be worried about doing in a certain room kind of makes me want to do it anyway. Not so much to, what's that noise? Not so much because I want people to get mad, but I'm just curious. Like that, I feel like if I can do something like that I thought they would get mad at, and it does well, I think it feels like even more of a victory.
Yeah.
And I don't want to get into just locked, stuck in my own little corner like some people are. And honestly, like if a bit is a good bit, then it should work for different types of crowds of people, but I don't think that's a universal rule to be followed. But I don't know. In the Wilsers room,
I don't even hear about that too much anymore. Like, does it still happen monthly?
Yeah, it's still going on. Just nobody that we know tends to do it.
I don't even see like posts about it anymore. Yeah, occasionally, I think there was one last month, but I haven't seen it in a long time.
No, the last time that I did it, I did the same set that I did at the Five and Dime a couple of weeks ago, pretty much, and it went over really well. Even with the C word, got a laugh at the Fredericton Wilsers room from those
fancy,
from those sensitive 19-year-old students. But I don't know. I feel like if it's funny, then you can get away with a bit more.
Yeah.
If the joke is kind of half-cocked and also offensive, then it's not going to work. Which, you need to fail to work that out. But yeah, other than Brian and Evan Steves, the Moncton people there's a whole crew of people that have gone through like the Nikki Payne class and stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
They're starting to trickle down. Taylor's come down to do the Five and Dime, and she's going to be on the next No Jokes Barred. And Margot Landry was on No Jokes Barred a couple of months ago, and she's going to be on the next one too. So
nice.
They're starting to filter down, and if they have a nice experience, then hopefully they can bring that back home and tell their other people that they should come down too. But I've got more hope for the Moncton people, the Fredericton people. I don't know. I've talked about it before, but they're afraid of St. John. I don't know if they're afraid of St. John because it's inherently sketchy, or if it's a fear of bombing. I don't know. Are you afraid of bombing?
Oh yeah.
You shouldn't be. It's it's part of the process.
Yeah. I'm afraid of doing well as well, though.
Okay.
Like, I'm just afraid of everything, man. I get these weird bouts of confidence, but they only happen in my car.
Yeah.
Like, on the way to the show.
Yeah, I've been there. I just try not to. I try not to guess how it's going to go because it could go either way at any spot, any given time. So I just try to go in with a blank slate, and then after the fact, I'll be full of myself if I do well, or just in a deep hole if I bombed. But the turnaround time has gotten better. I don't dwell on it as much anymore. But I don't know. I feel like bombing is a very important part of the process. Anybody that doesn't is either has perfect jokes that need no re-editing or changes or anything added or subtracted to it, which probably not. Or they've just, I don't know, or they've just gotten good at doing that stuff to whatever particular group of people. I feel like you can't get better if you don't bomb, because I don't know, we're not very good when we're left to our own devices. You kind of need like, oh, I thought that was funny, but I guess not. I don't know, we need that little bit of check. But anyway, I think we're coming up on the last couple of minutes of the show. Do you have anything you wanted to let the people know about?
I've got another Five and Dime show, Comedy Time, coming up at the end of the month, the 24th, Tuesday night.
All right,
7:30.
Is that similar? Is that the same format as the last one that I went from a couple of weeks ago? That's just the regular open mic style type one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's nothing too fancy right now.
Yeah. There was just one on this past week or something, a fundraiser or something.
Yes.
How'd that one go?
Went well.
Okay.
It went all right.
Good.
That was David Miles Holland Hall.
Okay.
Who put that show on.
All right. So, also, as mentioned, Uptown Comedy Deluxe, since we've been given the boot from O'Leary's, is going to be at Taco Pica this month. Not going to be a regular monthly show. Taco Pica would probably let me, but I don't know. I want to save it up until I've got a good show that I want to put on, and then I'll find a spot for it, rather than just every month trying to wrangle up 5 people that I want to put on a deluxe show with. So this Friday, September 6th, Dan Theriault here is going to be hosting. I'm going to do a bit of time, and Evan Steves is coming down with Brian Otter, who's going to take over the headlining spot. So looking forward to that. And then the weekend after, on the 14th, No Jokes Barred at McGill's, a week earlier than usual because there was something else going on the 21st. But check that out, and thank you for being with us, Dan. And we'll call that a night.
Sounds good to me.
Oh, I'm going to turn the volume up. There it is.